Hello, fellow peasants. So I just got done watching Friday the 13th Part 2. This is the second week of our little Friday the 13th marathon we got going on. Last week I reviewed the first film. And so going forth this summer, every week for the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing a review all the way up until Jason Takes Manhattan. So keep tuning in every week up until we'll probably wrap this up somewhere around the end of July, early August. So just keep tuning in for these. There's a playlist created for this, so you don't have to go searching for these. You can just go to the Friday the 13th playlist here on the channel, and you can find these reviews. Anyway, so this is only the second time that I have watched Friday the 13th Part 2. And I remembered liking it more than the original, and I still like it more than the original. I think it's a very strong film. It's better in many ways than the original, and is consistent with the original. So, like, in terms of cinematography, it's pretty much identical to the original film. I love how these films look. I like how they're shot. It's very well done. I wish films were still shot like this. I wish horror films were still shot with this style of cinematography. I mentioned before, and when I was watching the first film, that I really liked the night scenes. The night scenes looked really good. The black levels and how it felt very natural. It didn't feel like they were using a lot of extra lighting. It feels like they were using natural lighting. Even if they weren't, they used the lighting they did use very well. It feels very authentic. It doesn't feel like you're on a movie set when you watch these first two films. What I like about Friday the 13th Part 2 is really just you get more of a camp feel. You get more of like a feeling like you're at camp. The relationship between the counselors, them going out to the bar, just the whole counselor atmosphere. It's nice. It's kind of like a vicarious look into being a camp counselor and drinking and screwing around and having fun at the lake. Jason is the killer in this one, so this is where we start to get Jason as the killer. Mrs. Voorhees is dead. She got her head cut off in the last film, so Jason is the killer in this one. I'm not the biggest fan of Sackhead Jason. I think it works, it's okay. But I do prefer the hockey mask. The hockey mask is just so iconic and so badass. I do prefer the hockey mask. But in this film, Jason has the sack head. And I think the strongest part of this film, the kills are still great in this. I think Tom Savini still is doing the effects for this film. The kills in this are excellent. The best kill in this film by far, and I would probably rank this in one of the top 5 kills in all of horror, is the wheelchair guy getting the machete to the face. When he sticks that machete in that dude's face and he rolls back down those stairs, that's just fucking awesome. That is just a good kill. All the kills in this are well done. The story in this is more engaging in terms of there's not a whole lot of downtime in this. There's always something going on, something to keep you interested. Unlike the first film, which, I've said before, it has its slow spots. This film doesn't really lose my attention. There's always something going on, something to keep your interest, it seems. It's fun. It's faster paced. At least it feels more faster paced than the first film. I think that it's just a more entertaining film, in my opinion. And the third act in this, don't get me wrong, the third act in the first film is great because you get the killer reveal with Mrs. Voorhees, which is excellent. It's a nice twist, but I really feel that the third act in the part two is even better because you get the chase scene with Jenny and Jason, and she goes out to his little shack thing where he's got the shrine to his dead mom. He's got her sweater and he has her decapitated head there on the table and all the candles lit. And Jenny's kind of smart, you know. Jenny's she's a smart final girl because if you remember, like early on in the movie, like they're at the bar and she's talking to the other counselors about how she kind of feels bad for Jason and his mom, and she sympathizes with what happened to them, him drowning and her wanting the revenge for him drowning. And so she kind of understands, like on an emotional level, like what the fuck's going on with Jason and his mom. And so when Jason shows up to the shack wanting to kill her, she puts on Mrs. Voorhees' sweater and starts talking like Jason's mom. It's like, good boy, Jason. You've done a good job. Your job is done now. You're good, And so he starts thinking, oh, it's my mom. My mom came back from the dead. You know what I mean? So she's playing with him psychologically because she understands, this stuff about Jason. But then eventually she kind of moves off to the side and he sees his dead mom's head still on the table and he realizes he's being punked. And so he tries to kill her. Then what's his nut shows up. I can't remember the main dude's name, the boyfriend, Jenny's boyfriend or whatever, or love interest in this film. He shows up and fights with Jason, and she ends up taking the machete and stabbing Jason in the shoulder, and they run out of the shed and go back to the cabin. Well, then eventually Jason shows back up to the cabin and busts through this window and grabs Jenny. And here's one of the, it's a small nitpick, but this is where the film kind of loses me because it's got me all the way up to this point. And I'm like, wow, this is a great third act. He busted the window, he grabs Jenny, and maybe you guys can explain this for me in the comments, maybe I'm missing something, but he grabs her, and then it cuts to her going into an emergency vehicle, and I'm like, okay, well then what, like he let her go? The boyfriend fought Jason off, or what happened between him grabbing her through the window and allowing her to still be able to survive, and then she's like, where's so-and-so, where's my boyfriend? And it goes back to a vision of it goes back to a shot of Jason's little shack out in the woods, and it's that dude's head on the shrine now. At least I'm assuming this. It doesn't look like Mrs. Voorhees' head. It looks like he's killed that dude and he put his head on the shrine. So it's really confusing. And I think if they would have explained a little bit more of that, or that was written better, I think I would have enjoyed the ending a lot more. I just feel like they did so good at the end of the film, and then they don't really explain the last 30 seconds. But all in all, guys, I think the film is a step up in terms of pure entertainment. In terms of originality, the original still has it down pat. I mean, the story of Jason drowning and it being the mother, the twist of it being the mother who's come back for revenge. The originality, the original will always own the originality of the story. But in terms of pure entertainment value, good summer camp fun, I really think that this one nails it. And so far, and I kind of thought this last time I went through and watched all of these films. I think number 2 is my favorite Friday the 13th. I'm gonna keep watching them, but as of now, it still stands. Number 2 is my favorite Friday the 13th. But that's about it. Glad you guys are watching. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week. We'll be doing a review for Friday the 13th Part 3, and so on and so forth. We'll just keep it going for the next few weeks. We'll just keep reviewing these. So tune in every week, and it'll be a new review. Other than that, guys, have a good one, peasants. Peace out. Bye-bye.